You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Welcome to She Talks Peace, where powerful peace builders, especially women, share stories that spark real change. Hosted by Amina Rasul Bernardo, President of the Philippine Center for Islam and Democracy, this podcast brings voices from Southeast Asia to the Middle East, Africa, and beyond, exploring conflict, climate, education, equality, and peace through lived experience. Whether you are commuting or cooking, join us in learning from the courageous women and men working on the front lines of peace. Because when we talk peace, the world listens. Listen to She Talks Peace on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Assalamualaikum. Welcome back to She Talks Peace, where women peace builders share stories that spark real change. I'm Amina Rasul Bernardo of the Philippine Center for Islam and Democracy, welcoming you from Manila. Today, we're naming a kind of violence that rarely makes the headlines. It's called structural violence. It was first discussed by Norwegian sociologist Johan Galtung, and he used structural violence to refer to the harm inflicted on people by unequal social, economic, and political structures and institutions, rather than direct physical contact because of armed conflict. So, when corruption steals public funds, clinics don't open, classrooms remain closed, roads to markets remain unsafe, people go hungry. That isn't just bad governance. It breeds insecurity, eroding trust, fueling grievances and anger that armed actors exploit. And it blocks recovery in conflict-affected communities. Corruption is, therefore, very much a peace and security problem. Our guest today is Attorney Maria Gracia Pulido Tan, the first woman chairperson of the Philippine Commission on Audit, or COA. She is best known for leading the special audit that exposed the multi-billion so-called pork barrel scam and for pioneering the citizen participatory audit, which invites people like you and me into the audit process. This process, the CPA program, won the Bright Spot Award at the London Open Government Partnership Summit in 2013. We'll ask former Chair Pulido Tan, known as Grace to her friends, to connect the dots from corruption to conflict and perhaps help us map practical steps for any citizen, especially women. Anything we can take to uphold good governance. So, Attorney Grace, welcome to She Talks Peace.
Thank you very much, Amina, and thank you so much for inviting me. Amina and I have been friends for some time.
For
And
some time.
it's an
Let's not
honor.
say how many years.
No. And it is an honor to be here. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
The honor is ours, Grace. Now, first question, what have you been up to since you left the chairmanship of COA?
Oh, things that I was never able to do while in government service, while being a full-time career woman. Now I have the luxury of enjoying time with my family, especially my 4 grandchildren, and visiting them, going around, staying at home and doing my garden, things like that. But of course, I've never really stopped my involvement in public service and national affairs because in the shadows, on the sidelines, I am involved. Yeah.
I could imagine, Grace, especially with the daily news about corruption, especially in the Department of Public Works and Highways, the ghost projects that has caused billions of pesos damage to people's lives. Grace, when you stepped down as COA chair, you mentioned that leading the audit report on the Priority Development Assistance Fund, that's what we call PDAF,
Yes.
is the legacy you left behind. And that report actually became the basis for the filing of plunder charges against 3 senators. And senators were actually jailed. Tell us a little bit about this particular legacy that you left at COA, and why can't we have another legacy today from the existing institutions?
Well, when we were doing it, it never occurred to me that it was going to be a legacy. It was all in a day's work. Trabaho lang talaga.
Mm-hmm.
But what we found was something really kahindik-hindik, as I said. I mean, I used that term, no? We had to do everything within our means and authority to make sure that the audit, number one, saw the light of day. Okay? So walang audit ang COA that I personally announced. Kasi lahat naman ng mga audits namin noon sa COA, we posted them in our website. So anyone and everyone could really go there and look for them. But this one, I really called for a press conference where I announced our findings. Kasi it was just too much. And I had that sneaky feeling that if we just let it stay in our website, it could be used, it could be politicized.
Right.
Narratives could be changed, depende kung sinong tumitingin, anong spin ang ilalagay dyan. So I thought that I owed it to the Filipino people to tell them what it is really, and also to our very hardworking and dedicated auditors to make sure that the people know what they were up to, what they came across and all the hard work that they put into it. So, hindi namin alam na magiging legacy pala yun, but of course, it was such a big story and it spawned a lot of things. The Supreme Court struck down the PDAF as unconstitutional, remember? So, nawala ang PDAF, but I suppose the ingenuity of some people, wala nang PDAF, so anong pwede nating gawin, And I think that's what led to this present flood control mess, no? Nawala ang PDAF, ano ba pwedeng pagkakakitaan iba? No? And so it's really just an iteration again of the modus doon sa PDAF. Ganun din, it's the same story, it's the same modus, and unfortunately, we're hearing the same names. I mean, a lot of names.
Right.
Oo. So, yun ang nangyari doon sa PDAF.
Yeah. So, the good thing is we have an example where the findings of government actually led to jail time for senior government officials, high-ranking government officials who were connected with that particular corruption case. And
Yeah.
you heard me mention, Grace, that I really do see that corruption has a very strong bearing on peace and security, which is why we have to stress it. I mean, this is not just loss of money, but it actually fields a lot of anger, like what happened in Jakarta, right?
Right.
So I was just going to ask you, Grace, do you also see that same pattern where corruption actually undermines peace and security of the nation?
Oh yes, because there's a lot of distrust in government. Alam naman natin yung peace and security, one of the fundamentals there is distrust sa gobyerno, 'di ba? Parang feeling na napapabayaan. And it's not just a feeling, napabayaan talaga. Because can you imagine, as of today, what I was hearing was that there was already about 5 billion in the value of assets that have been frozen. Eh kung yung 5 billion na yon napunta sa kalsada, napunta sa mga ospital, napunta sa mga paaralan, you know, uh, how much of that can really foster peace? Pag ang mga tao nararamdaman nila na hindi sila pinapabayaan ng gobyerno, yung mga basic services ay naibibigay sa kanila ng maayos. Pero ano nga maibibigay kung na-divert naman, 'di ba? And unfortunately, it went to the pockets of a very few,
Right.
na mukhang hindi inintindi kung anong naging, walang remorse, walang pang of conscience. I mean, it's just unbelievable. At pinagmamayabang pa, you know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's parang sinampal na ang taong bayan, doble sampal pa sa kawalang hiyaan talaga. I mean, I could imagine when I saw Secretary Vince saying, walang hiya talaga, hayop na itong mga to. I could imagine his frustration, his anger, his exasperation. Nakakagalit talaga.
Yeah. And I'm really hoping, Grace, that the institutions that hold the executive and the legislative accountable, COA, the ombudsman, that they will be able to do something about it, which brings me to the role of citizens. You started that citizen participatory audit. So tell us, Grace, layman's term, how can an ordinary citizen help? How can they participate in taking government to account when it comes to the disbursement and the usage of public funds, which after all is our money, right? It's taxpayer money.
Correct. Yeah, before I answer that, Amina, I would like to say also, no, na nung panahon ko, I think we were particularly blessed in that we had a very good working collaboration with the Ombudsman then, Conchita Carpio Morales, and the Secretary of Justice then, si Secretary Laila de Lima. So kaming tatlong mga babae na, alam mo na, hindi ko nababanggitin, pero yun, I think napagtulungan namin, which is why we were able to put the people to account, no? I mean, the people involved to account. Okay. Ano ang papel ng citizenry? Napakalaki. Kasi itong mga bagay-bagay na ito is right where they are. And these are the things that are really close to their hearts.
Right.
Close to their stomachs, to their pockets, to their interest. At interest talaga ng taong bayan to. And when I thought about the citizen participatory audit, na-realize ko na napakalawak ng pagmamamanman, pagmamasid na kailangan, pero hindi talaga makakayanan ng COA lamang. Okay? Actually, before the citizen audit, no, I put up parang hotline na sino pwedeng tumawag. Hindi nila kailangang magbanggit ng mga pangalan. Bigyan lang kami ng sapat na impormasyon para magkaroon lang kami ng lead at kami ng bahala na tutukoy doon. Okay? And ang dami talagang tumawag. So naisip ko, why not really involve them in a more significant way? Kasi silang nakakaalam eh. So that gave birth to the idea, and in so short a time, we were able to put it together. We launched it. At ang aming mga pilot projects, just to illustrate to you kung paano nakatulong ang citizenry, no? Ang mga pilot projects namin, flood control, butika na yan, health centers, barangay health centers, at saka yung waste management, basura. Doon sa flood control, I think we did something in Navotas or Malabon. Alam mo naman, palaging yon, no? There was this pumping station there na so alam mo yung mga citizens, no? Sila yung mga pumunta doon, kasama of course kasama yung auditors namin, at talagang tiningnan pati yung nalaman nila ay wala palang nagtatao dito, hindi regular. Ay meron palang sira dito kaya naman hindi nagfa-function ng maayos. Pero hindi na-address yung sira kasi kailangan pang pumunta sa head office or whatever para lang mabigyan lunas, no? Yung na yon. Ang daming red tape, okay? So, doon mismo nakita ng mga tao kung bakit hindi gumagana ng maayos yung kanilang flood control project. At sila na rin ang nanguna na kalampagin ang DPWH sa lugar nila para ayusin. So yun yung value ng citizens, no? Kaming mga auditors, okay, mag-audit namin, titingnan namin, magkakaroon kami ng finding, isusulat mo yan, i-report mo yan, ibibigay mo sa hepe ng ahensya, recommendatory ka lang, God knows when that will ever be addressed. Mm-hmm. Pero yung urgency, pinakita mismo ng mga tao at sila ang humalampag. Okay, doon sa Barangay Health Center, ano nangyari doon? Ano nakita nila? Kasi ang kanilang mga pag meron kaming kailangang gamot, wala naman sila. That's one, no? Pero ang dami nilang mga antibiotics, mga gamot na hindi naman talaga kinakailangan sa araw-araw. Pero yung kinakailangan ng madalas, wala. Okay? And then we all found out together na kasi yung procurement process, paano nila minamanage yung kanilang inventaryo ng mga gamot, for example, ay hindi rin akma sa proseso. Yung procurement, sasabihin ng mga iba, kasi hindi naman namin alam kung ano yung kailangan nyo. So, na-realize ng mga tao na kailangan nilang magsalita. Kasi daw, sabi nila, Ma'am, kasi kung minsan nagpapamiting, di kami pumupunta. And then they realize the value na, kailangan pala tayong pumunta, makipag-meeting at makialam. Para matugunan, malaman kung anong pangangailangan talaga natin at matugunan. Okay? Doon naman sa these are highlights. No? This is what I remember from more than 10 years ago. Yung naman, yung sa basura, Quezon City ang pinilot namin. Diba? Yung segregate, recycle, at saka right. Ang daming gastos ng gobyerno sa waste management. Pero bakit hindi pa rin na-address? Kabila pa rin yung basura, no? And it's because yung information ng mga tao ay hindi sapat. Kasi usually tayo lang ng mga medyo English pa, 'di ba? Tapos magkaroon ka ng basurahan na green, magkaroon ka ng basurahan na black, sa ating mga fringes, sa ating mga nasa laylayan, for example, who cares about colored trash cans, 'di ba?
Right.
Ano yung kung minsan nga yung mga basura nila, you don't even know which one is organic or inorganic, di ba? May mga ganun. Right. So, napakasimpleng solusyon. They found out na madali lang pala ito. Kung basura namin, pulutin namin. Parang they found out that the power lies in the citizenry. Kaya naman I really pushed for citizen audit. Nung paalis na ako, yung second phase namin was farm to market roads. Pero hindi ko na alam, Amina, kung ano nangyari. But I know that my successors continued with citizen participatory audit. I just don't know kung ano ang naging form, kung ano ang kanilang mga tiningnan. But I know that it was really a very radical kind of project na maski yung mga COA ng mga ibang bansa, we call them the Supreme Audit Institutions, took notice and adopted it in their own countries. Kaya patuloy na ina-award yung citizen participatory ng audit, there have been many awards pa after London. Kasi napaka-effective. Napaka-effective. And karamihan sa aming mga volunteers ay babae.
Oh, that's good to
Oo.
hear.
Ang babae, I was telling you about Manang Pura. I think
Yes.
Abra Good Governance siya.
Yeah, from Abra Good
Na-
Governance. Yeah.
napaka-dedicated niya. At her leadership is also something that we were all very thankful for kasi ang dami niyang nahikayat na sumali sa citizen participatory audit. Ang ginawa lang naman ng COA doon, Bale, is we trained them. We accredited the CSOs and then kung sino yung kanilang mga representatives at linagay namin sa mga audit teams yung kanilang mga representatives. Ano yan, iniikot-ikot namin so that everybody could get a chance to be in the audit teams talaga.
Part of the audit team.
Oo.
They're your citizen partners.
Yes, the citizen partners. Ang aking dream ng aking vision ay mapalawak ito, ma-institutionalize, at sana magkaroon tayo ng mga communities of practice.
Yes.
Kasi ang imagination ko, and I think that it's very doable, is maski sa purok, let's not even talk of the barangay, yung purok mo lang, area of influence mo na yun eh. At ang dami-daming mga bagay-bagay na pwede na nilang tingnan for themselves, no?
Yeah.
At kung medyo kailangan nila ng mas maigting na tulong, we're always there for them. No? Ngayon may mga ayuda, may mga kung ano-ano.
All of which have to be checked also.
Yes, kasi yung
Is
sa
it
mga
really reaching the communities? Is
Correct.
is a bag of ayuda or help, is it
Mhm.
equivalent to what they say is the cost of the goods?
Ang daming complaints na yung mga
I keep hearing.
Oo, yung mga nagpapatakbo, mga kamag-anak nila, linanakay nila doon. Ako personally, meron akong mga experiences, no? Sa amin, sa probinsya, for example, yung aking mga kapatid na kasama sa ayuda, sabi ko, huy, bakit naman? I mean, hindi naman tayo mayaman, pero
Yeah, we don't need it.
kailangan yan, kaya naman nating magtrabaho. Ibigay na sa kasi yun daw ang listahan ni kung sino man. No, it happens. At ang mga citizens mismo makaka-check niyan.
Right. Yung participation of citizens, it seemed much more doable during your time because, as you said, you were in audit. The ombuds was Conchita Carpio Morales, who is another strong woman, and then you had Laila De Lima as Secretary of Justice. So your triumvirate made sure that you would abide by the rules, the legal processes of government. But it seems like since your time in government, things have changed so much. That's why it was really so shocking that it was the president of the Philippines himself, President Marcos, who was the whistleblower and stated in his State of Nation address that the corruption, the ghost projects are actually incredible. So for the president, the head of government, to come out and say this, it should really tell all of us citizens there's something seriously wrong with the accountability process in our government. So given that situation, what can citizens now do? Because I gather they're not going to be as welcome as they were during your time. I don't think there's going to be all that much desire of government to train the citizens, especially since there seems to be a lot they want to cover up. So in this particular situation, Grace, what do you think citizens can do? I mean, can they take your old network, and can you inspire your old network and come up with a movement that will, on their own, watch and monitor all of these cases and then report it.
Yes, I am very happy to note that the citizens are speaking up, diba? And they go out nasa kalsada, nasa lansangan, tapos sa social media, very active. Tapos yung meron din tayong mga officials na humihikayat na, and they sound very genuine to me, na hindi lang yung magsumbong sa Pangulo, pero meron na rin, halimbawa si Secretary Vince, meron na siya nung what is this, hotline also, no? So I think yun, wag tayong mangime, kasi para sa atin din ito eh. Of course, there's always the fear or the concern na baka merong mag-retaliate. But I think that habang ang the citizenry is up in arms, parang who would dare, 'di ba? Kaya kailangan siguro isulong talaga natin 'yon, no? And you're saying about the network that we had before. I think it's still there, although what we probably need to do is to come up with something independent of the COA and agencies, no? Hindi lang yung COA, pero sa lahat ng mga ahensya, pwede tayong magkaroon ng mga groups of watchdogs from the citizenry, no?
Right.
At pwede natin gawin yan. At siguro, habang lumalalim yung investigasyon, no? Mas makikita ng mga tao kung paano talaga it could have been preventable eh. That's the sad part of it. If I may, naisip ko lang, if I may, Amina, let me just talk a bit about what we call the corruption triangle. No, I found this very helpful in my time. No, napakasimple. For corruption to succeed, no, 3 bagay lang yung kailangan. Number 1 is pressure or motivation. Pangalawa is the opportunity to do it and the means to do it. And pangatlo is the rationalization or justification, no? Makikita natin, yung opportunity lang ang hindi natin kontrolado. As individuals, kontrolado natin yung motivation natin, kontrolado natin yung justification. Kasi tayo magawa nun eh. Sa atin nang gagaling yon. And for me, ang hirap ituro nun. Kasi konsyensya yun eh. 'Di ba? Maski anong pressure ang ilatak sa'yo, kung matigas o matibay ang loob mo and you are grounded in what is good and right, no? Hindi ka bibigay eh. 'Di ba? At kung nakagawa ka man, alam mo na hindi mo siya ma-justify. Kasi to be able to justify it, dapat i-blur mo yung line between right and wrong. So it is something very personal. So doon pa lang sa dalawa na yun, ang sa aking tingin, which I've always been advocating, you and I are both parents, you and I are both mothers, no? Nagsisimula sa bahay yun, di ba? Ganyan kasi tayo pinalaki. A lot of people were asking me, how do I do it? Bakit ang tapang-tapang ko? Sabi ko, hindi ako matapang. Yun lang kinalakihan ko na tama at mali. Yun lang. So sa akin, hindi man effort na gawin ko o hindi ko gawin. Parang it comes like second nature to me na ito dapat, hindi ito, or hindi ito dapat. Diba?
Right.
So, sa bahay lang yun natututunan from the time that our babies are born. That's what we already teach them and what we show them. Yung mga outside influences, hindi natin maiiwasan yon. Pero pag ang grounding sa bahay matibay, palagay ko, mahihirapan ding ma-penetrate ng masamang influence yan.
Yeah.
So, isa pa yan na magagawa ng ating mga citizens. Tutukan natin ang ating mga pamilya. Tutukan natin ang pagpapalaki sa ating mga anak. Kasi maski salat, in material terms, in material goods, no? Hindi tayo masasalat sa pagtuturo ng magandang asal, di ba?
Pero the problem, Grace, over the previous election cycles, money politics has become so embedded.
Mhm.
So much so. I know of relatives of friends. They've been based in Manila for a long time. But every election period, they
Uuwi.
fly home to Mindanao
Yeah.
to vote. And
Mhm.
it's not particularly because they want to support clean elections. It's because when they go there, they get a lot of money for one vote. I know of a particular municipality where the vote, and this was, I don't know, like over 5 years ago. The one vote was like 20,000. So if you are in Manila, your round trip ticket is maybe 10,000. You go home, your round trip ticket is reimbursed. You have another 10,000 to spare, and you have a paid vacation to spend with your families.
Correct.
It's become so easy to accept money for vote. And they do not see that turning over their vote this way has an impact on the kind of service that they are going to be receiving in future, because essentially they've sold their vote. How do you make the citizenry realize that what they're doing is selling their power cheap? And my basic concern really, Grace, is that more and more I see people, even young people, thinking that way. I might as well just get the money. After all, my vote counts for nothing. It's just the one vote. How do you change that, Grace, that perception?
Again, I think we it boils down to values, no? Noon iniisip ko din, 'di ba, pag malapit na eleksyon, ang daming mga youth groups na who are in information campaign, no? Sabi ko, dapat ang information campaign hindi tungkol sa proseso, hindi tungkol sa kanilang kung saan ang kanilang voting precinct, but more fundamentally, what does your vote mean? 'Di ba? At saka hindi lang siguro pag malapit na eleksyon dapat continuing yung kanyang klaseng pakikipag-ugnayan at pagpupush ng advokasya na yan para matuto ang mga bata. Kasi alam mo, nung last election, there were a lot of surprises, right? May mga artista na hindi na nakapasok. Samantalang, certain personalities na parang shoe-in, no? Because they were so popular. But surprise, surprise, hindi sila nanalo. And in the analysis, parang yung youth vote ang gumana at medyo tumama ang kanilang boto. They voted wisely. And I think that we can tap that We can continue with that. Namulat na sila. Siguro kailangan lang nating i-reinforce at dagdagan pa yung ating pagtulong para, kasi tayo matatanda na, di ba?
Yeah.
Kailangan talaga, kung may legacy, dapat yon.
We're looking for our successors, Grace.
Oo, kailangan matuto ang ating mga kabataan na pangalagaan talaga yung kanilang boto. Number 2, hindi natin yan mai-separate from the socio-economic realities. For some people, alam mo, marami nga akong alam, nagre-rent ng bus.
Mm-hmm.
At talagang yun ang kanilang pang-uwi at pambalik, no? Talagang, ano ba yan? Orchestrated na orchestrated.
Yep.
Siguro ang kailangan talaga din, no, is for them kasi, money is money. At
Yes.
hindi yan, no? So kung ibinibigay naman, pera ko din yan bakit hindi ko kukunin? Ganon.
Right.
And it means something to them. Maski 1,000 pesos, 2,000 pesos, meron silang mabibili niyan. And why do they think like that? Kasi nga, nakikita na nila na maski araw-araw sila nagtatrabaho, hirap ng hirap, they will only be able to earn so little. Samantalang itong mga iba na wala naman talagang masyadong ginagawa, bilyon-bilyon ang pumapasok na lang basta, di ba? So, it's like, it's their way of getting something from the pie.
Mm-hmm.
But if if basic services man lang are taken care of by government, siguro mas hindi sila magfo-fall into that kind of pressure or trap. But then of course it's a cycle kasi paano matutugunan yung kanilang basic requirements? Di sa maayos na paggastos ng pera ng bayan. Hindi nga maayos kasi dinudugas di ba? So
right.
I think what is happening now is a golden opportunity for us to really do something and make a better life for everyone, no? Siyempre, importante dyan, kailangan may political will yung mga nagpapalakad. Talagang yung political will. At sana naman, meron yan.
Yeah. Pero yun what I think is weak today is the political will of people, of citizens. It's like a lot have given into despair, really believing that they can do nothing. The one vote can do nothing. Perhaps, Grace, they're waiting for you, Justice and Laila, who's now in Congress. Maybe they're waiting for these three strong women to come together and reignite the fire in the networks. Maybe we should arrange a talk with the three of you. And find out, how do we get that old participatory audit movement moving? Because I am not so optimistic that many of our government agencies are going to be welcoming of participatory audit today. So you have got to force your way in because after all, government is accountable to the citizen, right?
Kasi for example, yung right to know na lang di ba? Nauudlot tayo dyan. Kailangan natin ng informasyon. So, that's one thing that the ordinary citizens, pag-isipan natin, paano natin may-encourage ang mga ahensya na mag-share ng information. No? Hindi naman tayo makikialam sa mga talagang highly confidential. I mean, that's a circumstance of time and place naman, diba? Pero dapat talagang transparent sila. Transparency is a must.
Yeah. And we have to demand that from government because they're accountable to us. Grace,
yes,
we've got a lot of young people listening to us, not just in the Philippines, but from all over. What would your message be to any young citizen, whether Filipino or from Malaysia or the United States, who aspire to work in public service but feel disenchanted with what they see? What would you say to them to encourage them that yes, they should come in?
Fair question. Alam mo, ako hindi ko pinangarap na magtrabaho sa gobyerno. But for some reason, napunta ako dyan. And I must say that public service, my stint in public service has been the most fulfilling to me career-wise. No? Hindi lang nga career-wise pati as a human being, as a Filipino, parang hindi ko yun ipagpapalit in spite of all the struggles, the challenges, the pain sometimes, the loneliness. Hindi ko yun ipagpapalit. It was very, very, very fulfilling. And iba pag nakakapagsilbi ka talaga sa bayan ng maayos. And so I would tell everyone, especially the young people, go for it. Go for it. Do not be discouraged by what you see to be wrong, because for all you know, kayo ang inaantay para matugunan yung wrong na yan. No? And it's going to be difficult, I assure you, but if you just keep grounded, no, alam natin yung ating purpose, it should be very rewarding. Sa akin, I leaned on my faith a lot. And sa akin, sabi ko, hindi ako napadpad dito by accident. Or dahil ginusto ko, kasi hindi ko naman talaga ginusto. But it was for some higher reason. And so, when I was there, nakita ko, ito ang pwedeng gawin. At hindi ako natakot. It was just a job, kung tutusin. But wow, a job that I will never get again. I mean, anywhere else. No matter how juicy the other side might seem. Iba yung public service. You know that. You have been in public service all your life. Your mom, everyone. Yeah.
And we have been also maligned. We've been at the receiving end. So, I know what that's like.
Yeah.
But before we go, Grace, Attorney Grace, former chair of the Commission on Audit, what is your message to government officials who are entrusted by the people with the duty to truthfully deliver public services?
My message is, I think all of us should realize that public service is not a right. We're never entitled to it. It is actually a privilege, no? And not many people get that privilege. So let's not waste it. Let's put in our best. Putting our best lang naman ang kailangan. You don't have to be perfect. We're not asking for perfection. We're not asking for super, hindi naman. If we just keep on doing. Ako, marami rin akong mga maling desisyon. Okay? Hindi ko masasabi na I could have done this better. But yeah, at least the intention should be that we are in public service to serve the people. And I think that we should also always remember what the Constitution says, that public office is a public trust. Ano yun? Pinagkatiwalaan tayo ng mga tao, ng ating kapwa Pilipino. So, pagsikapan natin na maibalik natin sa kanila ng maayos yung pagtitiwala na yan. No? It's this is a fatalistic way of putting it, but at the end of the day, we're just passing through.
That's true.
Wala tayong walang atin dito. And at the end of the day, we will all be answerable to someone up there. So, this is just a phase. We might as well do the best that we can while we're here.
Thanks for that, Grace. And I'm also reminded, that there's this thing about toys and boys. You can only play with one one toy at a time, one car at a time. So what the heck are you doing with 40 expensive cars in a, in a warehouse?
Oo, pagyayabag mo pa, diba?
Nakapost pa.
Oh my
Oh my God. And
God.
you have, and you actually have a talk show host interview you and have it shown on TV. Oh my goodness. But anyway, thanks so much for your messages, Grace. And my dear listeners, you've heard Grace, the former chair of the Commission on Audit of the Philippines. Corruption is not just a budget problem. It's not just a moral problem. It's not even just a governance problem. Really, for me, it's a peace and security problem. Every peso stolen from health, from schools, from roads, from any agency of government is trust stolen from the community. And as Chair Grace rightfully said, when you lose the trust, then you have a serious problem for the foundation supporting government. But trust can be rebuilt. And I'm so glad that Attorney Grace is optimistic that it can be rebuilt. It can be rebuilt when citizens have tools like the citizens' participatory audit, when leaders listen, and when institutions are strong. And that's where Attorney Grace is going to come in to help strengthen institutions
We will do something.
with Justice Chit Carpio Morales
We
and,
will do
and
something.
Congresswoman Laila De Lima.
Yeah. We will. Sika.
Yeah. And my dear listeners, do remember that corruption is a quiet thing. It may be quiet war, but our answer should be noisy integrity, right, Grace?
Right.
So, Grace, thank you so much for reminding us that ordinary citizens can be extraordinary auditors. And to our listeners, let us continue to build our governments to be worthy of our trust, to be inclusive, and to respond to us who are their bosses. We always want a government that truly embodies the ideals of service, justice, and peace for all. So, dear listeners, Attorney Grace, thanks for joining us today. I'm Amina Rasul Bernardo. This is She Talks Peace. And until the next time, may peace be with you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Amina, and thank you to everyone. Peace.